We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE, welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Anakin Skywalker did to the Jedi Daycare Center. I totally screwed up my intro. Welcome back to another Monday night debate, guys. I hope you are ready for a good show. We have a new flat earther, someone who's not been around before. I found him on Facebook, and he says he uses logic to come to the conclusions that he has, which will be interesting because I've never encountered a flat earther that can use logic before, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he has. With me tonight, as always, is my good buddy Team Skeptic. How you doing, man?
Hey, what up?
What you been up to?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry. Nothing. Been running errands, trying to catch up on the life that I've missed for the past 3 weeks of being sick. Apparently, they're getting ready to open up the state of Delaware again, already prematurely.
Crazy.
Because tonight, I am from Delaware. Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me once again. You said you're going to be a passive participant, but feel free to jump in if you feel you have something that is pertinent to the conversation. But let's just get to it and introduce our guest for tonight. He goes by the name Mick. Let me get the camera over to him. Welcome to the channel, Mick. How you doing?
Hello, I'll be representing the dummies this evening. We're fucking retarded.
Excellent. So, yeah, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me. I know it's short notice, and I do appreciate that. You identify as a flat earther, correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't even go that far, but yeah, I don't think it's a ball.
Okay, well, why don't you just take a couple of minutes to introduce yourself and explain your position and how you come to that conclusion.
My name is Nick. I'm an uneducated dolt. I rely heavily on the media and photos for my information, and I know much of nothing, so it'll be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, so how did you come to the conclusion that the Earth isn't a sphere that we're told it is?
Well, if I wanted to abandon my senses, I may believe the Earth is a sphere. Can I ask you one question before we get started? What is
Absolutely.
science? What is science to you?
Science is a tool.
No, what is science?
Science is a tool that allows us to discern the reality that we're in.
Okay, so according to what I'm familiar with, science is merely the scientific method.
No. See, science and the scientific method are two separate things. The scientific method is a guideline by which many scientific endeavors are progressed upon. But the interesting thing about the scientific method is that it's not a steadfast set of rules that is followed exactly by every branch of science. Different branches of science apply the scientific method differently. It's a guideline to help us come to a conclusion based on a logical series of events.
That's not really my question. The scientific method is observable, testable, and repeatable. That's essentially the scientific method. That's it. Observable, testable.
I mean, that's not the scientific method, but...
No, it is. It is. That's exactly the definition. Anyway, so I just want to know, if you've ever observed the Earth as a ball spinning 1,000 miles an hour.
The ball...
So there's been...
I need to correct you on one thing. The Earth doesn't spin at 1,000 miles an hour. Things don't spin in miles per hour. That's a linear velocity you are talking about. Okay. So you can't spin at a miles per hour.
So
So,
So
if you're talking about how
it is
fast the... Right, well, let me ask you a simple question first. How fast is the Earth rotating, according to
I don't
mainstream
think
science?
I don't think the Earth moves.
Well,
Unless there's
according to science, how fast is the Earth rotating?
at the equator, like
No, no,
1,001 miles.
no, that's a linear velocity. I want to know how fast it's rotating.
Yeah, I'm unsure.
Can I have?
15
Can I?
yeah,
Let me just get. Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, rotation is measured in degrees per time, like
yeah.
number of degrees, radians per time, degrees per time. So 15
Okay.
degrees per hour.
I've got a short 45-second video that I could quickly play you that could help demonstrate this point, if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
I told you I'm an uneducated dolt, and I'm just trying to learn your wisdom.
Yeah.
I think you guys have answers, and I just want to be one of you guys. So.
Oh, well, I'm glad that is the case, sarcasm aside. But, no, the whole question of rotation is a very good one. But there is a brief video that's been done by a famous flat earther that I'll just play this for you quickly, okay?
Jesus.
Oh, let me get the audio up.
That means that every hour it has to turn every 24 hours. That means that every hour.
All right, here we go.
If the Earth is spinning at one rotation every 24 hours, that means that every hour it has to turn 15 degrees. And if the gyroscope is mounted anywhere on Earth, it's going to drift. In today's 21st century navigation systems, they're using what's called a ring laser gyroscope. It is extremely precise. If we could simply get one of these ring laser gyroscopes, we would be able to prove once and for all that there is no rotation to the Earth.
I like it.
One of the people in the community actually purchased one for $20,000. But what we found is when we turned on that gyroscope, we found that we were picking up a drift. A 15 degree per hour drift.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob. So yeah, the point of that is the rotation speed of the Earth at any point on the Earth is 15 degrees per hour.
I can't grant you that premise. Okay, fine. We'll go on. I'll pretend I granted you that premise. Let's go on.
Well, no. If the Earth is rotating if there is at the equator a linear velocity of 1,000 miles an hour roughly, and the Earth has a radius of about 4,000 miles, that means that the Earth has to rotate at 15 degrees per hour. And that 15 degrees per hour applies to every point on the Earth. At the North Pole, at the equator, you are rotating at 15 degrees per hour, which is once per day.
Okay.
So I don't see the issue.
Yeah, Earth doesn't fucking move, is the issue, but...
Well, how did it get measured as moving then?
Are you measuring the ether? Well, so I said I had to omit the ether in order to...
Well,
he admitted relativity is bullshit as well. I know you like to quote Einstein a lot. Do you...
I don't quote Einstein a lot. I use a lot of his mathematical theorems and stuff, but I don't quote him as such. But the point is, you say the Earth doesn't rotate. Well, how did good old Bobby Boy measure a rotation then?
There are forces unseen, such as the ether.
There's no such thing as the ether. That was thoroughly disproven.
Really?
Yeah, Mixon-Morley, Maxon-Gale, Maxon-Gale-Pearson, Airy's failure. There's many experiments that thoroughly disprove the notion of an ether. Do you understand what happened in the Mixon-Morley experiment and how they disproved an ether drag?
If you could explain it to me, I'd like to hear your take.
Well, not my take, what actually happened. So in the Mixon-Morley experiment, they set up an interferometer, and what the premise of the experiment was if there was an ether, as Earth rotates around the sun, because they knew the Earth rotated around the sun, we were a globe, but if there was an ether, as the Earth rotated around the sun, it would create a drag. The same as if you put your hand out of a window when you're in a car that's moving, you can feel the drag on your hand from the air, right? So the Mixon-Morley experiment was set up to see if, as the Earth moved through the ether, there was a drag. So what they did at two different points in the Earth's rotation around the sun, where there was a different linear velocity of the Earth, they measured the speed of light traveling backwards and forwards in the apparatus to see if moving with the aether or against the aether would cause a difference in the speed of light going backwards and forwards, and it didn't. There was such a small amount measured that it was what was expected due to experimental error, but there wasn't any evidence that an aether existed. The conclusion of the Michelson-Morley experiment, set up with the interferometer to test for an aether wind, concluded that either the aether moved with the Earth, which was ridiculous, or there was no aether.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well,
So
moving on.
the aether was disproven.
Okay, hold on. Let me also step in for a second. It's Mike, right? I don't want to get it wrong, just to make sure I'm getting it right. It's Mike.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Okay, Mike. When they performed that experiment, they did it at 2 different times of the year. Do you understand why they did it at 2 different times of the year?
No. I need you to explain.
Well, So Michelson and Morley did not think the Earth was stationary at all. Okay,
Right.
They knew
Sure.
the Earth. It was already a well-established fact
knew.
that the Earth goes around the sun. So what they did when they did their experiment, they did it at 2 different times of the year, because they figured the Earth would be at 2 different points in the orbit, and it'd be traveling against or with the ether at 2 different times to get 2 different measurements to compare against, so that they could compare their predictions versus their results. Now, what they got was that there was no difference no matter where they were or in which direction they looked. Now, the only conclusion that they could come to at that point was that the Earth was stationary along with the ether, or that the ether rotated around the sun with the Earth. Both with all the other scientific and observable evidence that has been provided by the many scientists before them, they already knew that the Earth was not stationary, and they already thought, and they knew that to have to consider that the ether, for the ether to exist, it would then have to rotate with the Earth around the sun. That's a ridiculous concept. Therefore, they came up with a null result. It's the greatest failed experiment in the history of man, because it pushed us into a new era of physics, and this was the era of general and special relativity.
And it the results of the experiment confused people for a long time, until Einstein explained the results with his theories of relativity, and then it all made sense.
Do you know? Here's a question I'd like to ask you. Do you know why they think an ether exists? Or they thought an ether existed?
Unclear.
Okay,
I told
so
you I'm not
light.
together.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's why I'm just asking. I just want to know where you're at, so I know where to start at. Okay, so
cool.
when they observed light, when they observed light through something like the double slit experiment, they noticed that light appeared to act as a wave. Okay, other things that they knew were waves were things like sound. Well, when they look at sound waves and they see a sound wave in a vacuum can't travel because it has no medium to propagate through. Therefore, they used a false analogy to say, sound needs a medium. Other things that are waves need mediums. Why doesn't light that's a wave need a medium? The medium that light needed was then called the luminiferous ether. Okay, this was just an assumption they made. At the time, they had no way of testing this assumption out. Then came along the experimenters of the late 19th century that started to design experiments to test for the ether. When they designed the experiments to test for the ether, every test ever that was ever been designed to detect an ether does not detect an ether given any kind of scientific significance. The probability that what you're seeing is tied to the ether and to the ether measurement that you're making is not statistically significant enough. So, in other words, like Fight was saying, they get null results. They get results that don't make sense to them. The speed of the Earth traveling through the ether has been measured from 1 to 10 kilometers per second. That's not addressed by flat earthers. Flat earthers say that according to any Michelson, Morley, any scientists out there, 1 to 10 kilometers per second is relatively stationary inside of the universe. the rate, the speed at which the Earth has been calculated to move around the sun is so much higher than that's statistically stationary as far as anybody's concerned. Fight, if you want to look up what the Earth moves through space at in kilometers per second, so you can compare what's calculated to what the Michelson-Morley experiment found, and subsequent experiments following. And there's a great chart on Wikipedia that shows all of the people that have done that experiment and what the value they got from the experiment was. And
30 kilometers
it's always
a second
somewhere
is
in
what we're traveling.
30 okay, so they measured it at 1 to 10 kilometers per second. Let me pull up the
We don't do the
Wikipedia real
metric
quick.
system. You're from Delaware.
Well, it's just what the measurements were tended to be in. But the main point of all this is that it's been conclusively shown that the ether doesn't exist. So how else could we explain the fact that we can measure rotation? Like, what other explanations are there? What explanation is...
there are exist, and the ether does.
Well, the ether doesn't exist. It was disproven.
Oh, I missed that one. Yeah, no, I said admitted. He had to admit that.
Sorry?
Okay, yeah,
so-
I have the...
Go on, team.
hold on one second. I'm gonna pull up the actual chart of all the measurements real quick. 1 second. Because this wasn't a one-off thing. They've tried to measure this several times because there is a set of science. There is a sect of science that does still try to believe that there is a luminiferous ether. They're out there to prove that it does exist. And I mean, hey, if they can do it, then that's great. But there's no need for it because we have special relativity, which gives just as good of a...
So if we want to follow the scientific method, which all these experiments have, and all the experiments following the scientific method have determined there is no ether, what other explanation is there for the fact that we can measure a rotation?
I can't grant you these. So, I mean, when you speak in logical fallacies, your errors undermine logic, and I know
We haven't done any fallacies.
Oh well, I can't grant you these premises. So
There's no premises. These are scientific experiments that have followed the scientific method.
I'm not sure.
Well, it's used by flat earthers all the time. Unfortunately, they don't understand the actual conclusions of the experiments.
I've made it pretty clear I don't follow the flat earthers. There are so many...
I know, but it's... Okay, right, this team's got the chart up. But whether you want to grant the premises or not is irrelevant. The fact is we can measure a rotation and the ether has been disproven.
You can't measure something that doesn't exist.
Then we need to explain what the measurements are. Because there is more than one way to measure the rotation of the Earth.
Does the Earth rotate? Or I mean, okay, so thing people do a lot of times, they like to look up to tell us what's down. Okay, right? Like, oh, the sun is a perfect circle. Must be what Earth is.
Okay,
oh,
nice
look at the
non
moon.
sequitur there. It doesn't change the fact that we've physically measured what the Earth is doing. And you can physically measure that the Earth is moving.
If there's an earthquake, sure.
No,
The
you can physically measure that there is a rotation of 15 degrees per hour.
Right.
Not only that, but the same interferometric fiber optic gyroscopes that pick up that 15 degree per hour drift, they also pick up a 1 degree drift per day around the sun. So if there is no rotation to the Earth and it's stationary and everything, then there needs to be an explanation for why we can measure what is consistent with what science tells you.
So, you checked. Don't worry about it. I read your shirt.
Hey, fight.
Yo.
Fight. Let me jump back in on the Michelson-Morley if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Can you see the chart that's on the screen right now, Mike?
Yes. Kind of.
Okay.
If you could.
I just turned up the
I
resolution
believe
for you.
the original Michelson-Morley experiment will be the second one on this chart, 1887.
Yeah, sounds right.
It measured between 4 and 8 kilometers per second. It's not even stationary. See, all these people that say, oh, Michelson-Morley proves the stationary Earth. No, it doesn't. They couldn't even they couldn't even narrow it down to, it could be between one speed and twice that amount, and it's still nowhere near the calculated amount that we already see in our skies when we do all of our calculations.
Well, you're doing calculations by looking up to tell us what's down. There's a logical error in that.
None of these calculations involve looking
That's
up.
false.
We're going to look up.
That's completely false. That's you're just saying that to say it. Don't try to speculate on what they were thinking unless you know what they were thinking. Okay. So again, no result. Yes. Unclear. Is 8 to 10 kilometers per second. But look, these are people that have done it. Of course, there's going to be like Morley did it here, Michelson did it twice here. There's going to be people that do it. I'm trying to think of the other one. The
Mixon Gale Pearson.
There's that's right. The Gale Pearson experiment, I believe, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's on here or not.
I mean, they all reach the same conclusion.
But these are all from these are all from the late 1900s to the late 19th century to the early 20th century. But then look, you then have people doing it in the 50s, 60s, and 70s too. It's not like they just gave up on this idea. I mean, look, 2003 they did it, 2005, 2009.
And they all come back with the same result.
New to physics.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not new to physics. This is not something that just like the world has not been exposed to. No, there's scientists out there that are still trying to understand these concepts because not everybody is on board with special relativity and general relativity. Even Einstein said himself, if the ether is ever proven to be true, then that would be your like point of reference, your frame of reference, your inertial frame of reference to measure everything else against would be to the luminiferous ether. There is a scientific need to, or like if we find this out that this is the way that it really is, there is science to be learned from it. There are people who are still trying to see if this is real or not, and unfortunately for anybody that still believes in it, every fucking experiment is coming back showing that the luminiferous ether does not exist.
Which brings us back to the fact, what are we measuring if not actual rotation? So, Mike, what would you say every interferometric fiber optic gyroscope on the planet measures if it's not measuring the rotation of the Earth?
The rotation of the sky.
And how would a interferometric fiber optic gyroscope see what's in the sky?
The sky. It's the sky. The sky's rotating, and you're basing your calculations off the sky.
No, there's no way that an interferometric fiber optic gyroscope can see the sky.
I really don't know.
Let me explain to you quickly.
Go ahead.
Let me explain to you quickly how the measurement actually works. Okay, because this is an important part, right? You see the screen again? Yeah. Yep. So this is what's inside an interferometric fiber optic gyroscope. The blue box emits a laser. That white the white line splits the laser into two parts, making the light take two paths. So if it is on something that is not moving, when the laser fires and the light has to travel the two paths, it will take the same amount of time for both paths, right? Which means that as the light comes back, you don't register an interference in the wave patterns, and it shows that it's stationary. However, if it is physically on something that is moving, that changes the distance that one of the paths is, meaning that light will take longer or shorter to travel that path. Meaning that when the light recombines and goes back into the sensor, there will be an interference pattern, which you can measure as a physical rotation. So there is no way this device can see what's happening in the sky. It can only measure the rotation of what it is on.
Yeah, it only measures whether its frame of reference is inertial or non-inertial.
Yeah. So again,
non-inertial,
how would that
rotating
measure
reference frame?
How would that measure the sky?
You said there's a force that you can't see that would have to move it. So he said.
No, I'm saying that it measures what it is on because it only changes the path of light's distance if it is physically rotating itself. And it can't physically rotate unless it's on something that is rotating. And it can't see outside of the box. It's all a self-contained unit. So it's no idea what the sky is doing.
So, I literally cannot grant any of those premises.
Whether you can grant them or not is irrelevant because they're scientifically demonstrated to be fact.
I want to believe that I don't. It's psychobabble bullshit at this point. Just like Tesla said it best. What scientists?
Okay, but where are you getting your ether information from? By the way, where are you getting this concept that the ether exists and that's the way? So you're willing to accept psychobabble bullshit that's been debunked already and been proven wrong by a scientific experiment, and you're denying the psychobabble bullshit that's been proven over and over every single time. That's not how science works. We don't say, hey, you know what, this idea that we have, it doesn't work right now, but we're gonna keep it anyway. No, we stop talking about that idea, and we find we search out the real reason, the truer answer. Every answer we come to is only a partial answer. We then have to break that answer down and find the new answer that's even deeper, the deeper hidden truth. That's what science is all about. That's why we abandon ideas that are bad. Flat Earth, bad idea, abandon it. Ether, bad idea, abandon it. Flat Earth and ether are bad ideas. You should abandon them. They've been proven wrong over and over. I'm not assuming. No, I'm not saying you in particular. I'm saying flat Earth is a bad idea. You, as in anybody who's hearing my voice right now that believes the Earth is flat, should abandon it. The ether is a bad idea. You, as in anyone who can hear my voice right now, if you believe that the ether causes the 15-degree drift in that gyroscope, that's a bad idea. You should abandon it. It's been proven by science over and over that what you think is wrong. You shouldn't keep thinking that way. That's normal. That's a normal. What are you talking about? You just tried to define science with the scientific method. You just tried to define science with the scientific method. And then you turned around and said the scientific method is observable, provable, repeatable, which is nothing what the scientific method is.
It's not.
I would ask that you please explain just in layman's terms. I'm not going to go total Nathan Oakley on you and say, give me the full constituents to the fucking... No, just basically in human terms that you and I and everybody else can understand. Tell me what the scientific method is.
It's observable, testable, and repeatable. It's simply method.
Have you got any citation that says the scientific method is observable, testable, repeatable? Anything at all?
Well, I like different...
Because that's a claim you've just made. It's a claim of yours that the scientific method is observable, testable, repeatable. And claims require backing up. Otherwise, Hitchens' razor says that claims made without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. So do you have any evidence that that is the scientific method?
The definition of scientific, literally the dictionary definition of...
Can you direct me to that dictionary definition of the scientific method?
If you look it up, go to Google it. A method, a procedure that has characterized natural science since the 17th century. It's probably been since the 10th century, honestly. Consisting in a systematic observation, measurement, and experiment, and the formulation, testing, and modification of the hypothesis. So it's pretty much observable.
There you go. There you go. That's the scientific method right there.
Yeah. So
okay, it's an observation. Hold on. It's an observation. It's you form a hypothesis. You make a prediction on it. Then you test it. You do an experiment, and then you compare your results to your hypothesis. If it doesn't match, then you reformulate your hypothesis because the one that you originally had was bad, and you should no longer believe in that. Flat Earth is bad. Ether is bad. Those have been demonstrably proven false by the exact method you just described. And yet there's still people out there that want to hold on to that method.
It would be over. But fucking there'd be
I'm
no
sorry,
goddamn argument.
you cut out a little bit.
I need to ask you one.
You cut out a little bit. Let me.
I need to ask you one thing though, Mick. Can you tell me? Can you see the screen there? What I'm putting up right now? Can you tell me there where it says at the beginning it must be an observation?
Test with an experiment.
No. Because you said the first part of the scientific method is that it has to be observation, so it has to be something that's observed.
I have a hypothesis, then you observe it, test it, and repeat it.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, okay, so when I said observable, it really just needs to be a phenomenon. It needs to be something you can test, something that exists in nature. If like that's where, yeah, you don't have to be. Well, no, because we can't observe electrons. Okay, we can't see electrons. However, we can test electrons. We can test their qualities. We can absolutely measure spin. Things like that. So it's not something that you must be able to observe with your eyes. It just needs to be an observable phenomenon, something that can be tested given an experiment.
Not with your eyes. Also, we haven't even gotten into optics as far as flat Earth. That ship going over the curve is ridiculous, and that should be. They didn't even try. Now we have the technology.
What do you mean they didn't even try? Who didn't try what? Well, let's not move away from the scientific method first, because it's flat earthers always get the scientific method wrong, because they just don't understand science in the slightest. Whereas me, all right, let me just tell you a little bit about myself before we go on, so you know that I actually know what I'm talking about. I've got 2 degrees in the STEM field. I've got a degree in physics, and I've got a degree in nuclear engineering, energy systems, and fission technology. I was in the Royal Navy for many years as a nuclear engineer. I was a wind farm developer. I'm a qualified and trained engineer, and I understand physics extremely well. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to science. I've had to do scientific experiments. So
physics is more math.
Physics is what?
Math. It's a language.
Physics
is a language.
Yeah, well, physics isn't just maths. It's about applying the maths that describe the physical world to real world situations.
Fucking math. Math is a language. You can make it say whatever the fuck you want.
No, you can't.
Pardon my French.
You might be able to make it say what you want, but whether what you make it say reflects reality or not is a different thing. Like, if you wanted to calculate, for instance, say you're in a car and you need to jump a ravine, and you need to calculate how fast you need to go while you hit that ramp to be able to jump the ravine based on the mass of the car. Then I can give you the formulas and the maths behind that can physically describe the reality behind what you need to do. If I gave you the wrong stuff, I could just give you whatever I want, then it wouldn't physically represent reality. So you can make maths, say what you want, but you can't make it represent reality whenever you want.
I think astrophysics is fucking complete garbage.
Nice non sequitur. I didn't say astrophysics, did I? I said physics.
Yeah, there's some. I like some of it.
Can you give me one astrophysics experiment that you just hands down believe is just nonsense trash? Cite the experiment so I can look that up, please. It's a pretty bold statement for you to say that astrophysics is nonsense.
An entire field of sciences.
I will give you that the entire field is nonsense if you can give me one accepted scientific concept in astrophysics backed by experimentation or observation that's complete nonsense.
Oh, it's kind of like dinosaurs.
What?
That's again a non sequitur. I mean, we can jump from topic to topic. Okay, dinosaurs are real. We find their bones. Okay, so what do you want to talk about next?
What's that?
Well, no, okay, but like let's say I said the concept of the ether is ridiculous. The entire concept of the ether is ridiculous, and someone goes, cite an experiment that says that the concept of the ether is ridiculous. I could go, well, the Michelson-Morley experiment. I could do that because I can now cite an experiment that
Right.
refutes the idea that. So I'm asking you, when you say that astrophysics is nonsense, what is your basis for that statement? What single experiment or single concept that has been experimented upon that you just come say, fuck that, that's bullshit, and I'm not believing astrophysics moving forward?
Give me 1 second. I know what I need to call it.
Are you Googling it?
Well, no.
I mean, 'cause
I'm going to do that.
if I Google "is the Earth flat," the answer is
Oh,
no.
yeah, it's more specific. It's no. My whole problem with astrophysics is it's a whole concept of looking up the dose down, and we can calculate, we know, we can measure it, we can
measure. They've measured lots.
we know this. We know how the sky moves, right? Like,
Yeah, we also know why. We don't just know how it moves. We know why it moves.
So, but okay. So back to the astrophysics being bullshit because it requires us to look up to do these measurements. We're always observing to do measurements. That's what the purpose is of doing a measurement, is to observe the phenomenon itself, right? We look up at a star, like we look up at our star, our star wiggles a little bit because it's gravitationally pulled by all of our planets as they go around as well. It's something that we can measure, okay?
Yeah, the
now we
Barry
can
Center's
also
slightly
see
off.
we can take those measurements and we can say, we can develop a concept and say, I think it's the masses of all the planets pulling the sun. And then we can look up and we can also say, when an object passes in front of the sun, we can see how much light is taken away. You could do this with a flashlight, yes or no? Could you not take a photon receptor on one side of, let's say, a warehouse and a powerful flashlight on another and measure the number of photons and watch as they drop as you move your finger in front of it, let's say? Well, we can do this to everything. We can do this to the sun. We can do this to other stars. We can then use those measurements and compare whether the star wiggles to what the measurements are on the size of the star based on our observations. If those two numbers didn't match up, then we would say there's a problem with that. But if they do match up, if they say, yeah, it appears as though the size and weight that we see on the star as it passes in front of the star also has the same massive influence on the star itself when it pulls it and moves it. Because these planets we see obviously have to be quite large from the distances we're seeing them from. So they also have a large gravitational influence on their star. We can check to make sure that both of those match.
Yes, I know quite a lot about the inverse square law. What's your question about the inverse square law?
The inverse square law, even with the dimensions they're giving us, all of these things we're observing should be fucking impossible. So if you know anything about the inverse square law...
You say should be impossible. Give me a mathematical equation.
No. Well, let me just point out one thing about the inverse square law, is that the inverse square law will never reach zero, which means you should always be able to observe the light.
Your eyes aren't super fucking human.
Your eyes can see a single photon. Okay. And as long as a single photon hits your eyes, then you're going to be seeing where the light came from. Can I just ask you, are those diplomas on your wall behind you?
Oh, yeah, no.
What are they?
One of them, that's my GED. I went to remedial reading. I have a GED in remedial reading.
I'm dead. I like this guy already, Mick. You're cool as fuck to me.
I'm trying to read it, but the picture's not very good.
No, he's cool, man. I like this guy already. I really do.
Well, I don't know.
I called you Mike earlier. Is it Mick? I heard him. Go ahead. I'm sorry. There's a delay between us because of me and Fight's connection. So if I cut you off, I don't mean to. But if I stop, it's because I wouldn't let you go ahead and talk. And I was just saying, sorry. I called you Mike earlier, and I heard Fight called you Mick. So I just want to get it right.
I didn't want to
Mike, whatever the case may be. No, that's cool. Mick, that works. My real name's Skeptic, okay? So we'll just go with that. But Mick, yeah, man, like at this point, I truly think you're being a really, really great troll and a Poe, which is not an insult because I believed you to the point that she fucking irritated me. So if that's the case, you win. If it's not the case, man, we got some talking to do, Mick. I mean, we got some teaching to do here in a minute.
No, I like to keep an open mind. I do. Sometimes I troll. I learned this trait from my grandfather. He always liked to say things that he knew would upset people just to see how they really felt, regardless if I agree or not. And like at the end of the day, I don't know shit. So I'm trying to gather all the information I possibly can because there's no fucking way I'm going to know. I'm never going to go to space. I've only been up so high. I really believe the sky is the limit. I hope it's not. But like, I've only been in the sky and can't go any higher. I don't think there's a...
Okay, but in the question of if the Earth is flat or a globe, there is no evidence to suggest that it's flat, right?
Right. Well, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I will never claim to know any. There's no way I know it's a spinning ball. I don't.
Apart from the measurements, of course.
What measurement? The measurement of the curve? There's no curve.
Oh well,
how can it be a ball?
There is measurements of the curve. Let me just show them to you. Mm-hmm. So.
8 miles squared, fucking whatever the flat earthers are morons about.
Yeah, so the curve has been measured many times. This is a whole page of radius of the Earth measurements done by surveyors. Let me just no, you should be able to see that, right? For instance, they account the measurement of the 2 sections in the meridional arc of India, along with measurements of the transcontinental triangulation of the American arc of the parallel. These are all massive surveyors. The surveying operations around the world, and they all came to the same conclusion. They all came to the same conclusion that the Earth is a globe with a radius that we're told. All the measurements show that.
Super skeptical.
Well, how can you be skeptical of actual measurements done by actual surveyors? Like that. This it should be.
Where are you getting the info? But no. Yeah, but okay, how do you get your information? Do you only accept and collect the information that supports your pre-drawn conclusion?
No, it's the
because
opposite.
if your information, okay, so if your information that you present to us, any evidence you present to us follows this same format, then you would then have to give us an explanation as to why you accept that evidence but not this evidence.
Sure. Yeah, because I haven't done any of this. Like, I don't know. I have to read this.
I'm not saying...
Yeah, just go to mctoon.net/r. I mean, it's a literal entire webpage full of measurements of the curve of the Earth.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'd be happy to look at that. I'm curious about it, for sure. I own it.
Yeah, just mctoon.net/r. And then there's pictures that are impossible on a flat Earth. Have you ever heard of Miles Davis? I don't mean the jazz singer.
I'm peeing my pants right. Oh no, only the jazz singer.
No. There's a guy called Miles Davis who takes, he debunks flat Earth as well, and he lives quite near me in Scotland. And he took this picture which single-handedly disproves the notion of a flat Earth and there not being any curve.
Well, I mean, the mountains curve. There's all sorts of curves on Earth, but this does not prove anything from that height, especially.
No, what it proves, and let me explain to you why this picture is important, is because the camera height is 210 meters above sea level, right? And the top of those towers, the Forth Road bridges, is 210 meters above sea level. So you've got a tangent there, right? You've got a straight line, your eye level of 210 meters, okay? Those hills in the background are 500 meters plus above sea level, yet they fall below 210 meters. That can only happen if the ground is curving away. There is no other explanation for that.
There is. It's the optics thing. Like, people don't understand how their eyes work. So, like, why can't we see, like, Mount Everest?
No, we understand optics very well, and we also understand how refraction works. It's been conclusively, but we know how the environment affects the light. And the important thing about when you're up at this height is that there isn't going to be much of a refractive thing happening. There's going to be no distortion when you're 210 meters above sea level looking out at a tangent.
Yeah, and it's it's a picture, and there
It's
are plenty of
impossible
things.
on a flat Earth. It's a picture that's impossible if the Earth is flat.
Yeah, at
I don't
any
think it-
height on a flat Earth, but Mick, at any height on a flat Earth, okay, if you're talking about a plane, you understand the concept that parallel lines don't intersect, correct?
Sure. Of course.
Yeah,
Right.
okay,
What
great.
about the point
So,
of
yeah, so, well, okay, but, so basically think of it like this. The ground is one line, 210 meters is another line, okay? At every point between the ground and 210 meters will always be the same distance, right?
Sure.
Okay,
The
so
mountains
now
are-
let's talk about, let's say that, okay, so how tall are the mountains in the foreground, Fight? What's the height?
And how
Mountain
far
range,
away
mountains?
are they from how far away are they from the,
Oh, yeah, but Mick, let me get
They're
this
about 83
let me get this
kilometers
concept
away.
out real quick.
They're about 83 kilometers away,
Okay,
and
so
they're 510 meters above sea level.
Okay, so 510 meters. So now, Mick, let's take another
Or
line
is it
from
63
the observer
kilometers away?
above his head, because right now the observer is at 210 meters. Let's just say they're at 500, just estimating, okay? We're not saying that that's how tall the mountains are, we're just estimating. So now let's put another line at 500 meters, elevation, 290 meters above it. And the 200, you have the line at 210 meters, you have the line at 500 meters, and those lines are parallel. They will never intersect. Do you agree with that?
Repeat what you just said. I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah, so if you drew a straight line from the observer, like above the observer's head, a parallel line to the ground, all right, from
Okay.
the observer to the mountain, and that line would remain parallel with from the observer to at the observer height, which is 210 meters. So you'd have one line at 500 meters going out to the mountains, and you'd have another line at 210 meters at the observer height. Do you understand that?
Right. They're not going to cross.
Okay, so they will never cross. Therefore, anything above 210 meters will always, no matter how far away it gets, will always, no matter how small it appears to go, will always be above your line of sight. It will never go below. The only way for
I
it to
think
go
the point-
below is for the ground to
don't
bend
know.
away.
I don't know if I believe that. I'm sorry. Like I said, I don't know. But the point of convergence, the way our eyes work.
Well, perspective shrinks things. Yeah, perspective shrinks things together.
Far away, like
Perspective shrinks
have
things
you ever-
together.
have
It
you ever-
doesn't shrink things and make them drop. I'm sorry.
Have
go
you ever
ahead.
looked down a super long, hot, hallway? Like it's so fucking long, it just converges and shrinks and goes away.
Absolutely, and that's a very good example because imagine if you're looking down that super long hallway, right? And your eye line is the middle of where as you look into the distance and the floor and the ceiling meet, your eye line matches that, right? Anything above that eye line will never go below that eye line. No matter how
think it
far
will if
away
it's
it
far
gets.
away.
No matter how far
point
away
is-
it gets in that hallway, it will never go below that tangent. It will shrink in size, but it won't drop down in distance. Now, what you're seeing
goes away.
on what you're seeing on this is an orthographic view explaining what we're seeing, where the observer is, where the
I
bridge
disagree.
tower and the big fucking mountain.
I'm being hard-headed. I don't agree with this diagram. I don't think people understand optics. I said, I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't know shit.
Okay,
mental
but-
midget, remedial
So-
diploma.
If we don't understand optics, then how do glasses and contact lenses work?
Yeah.
Because we're
I-
all
I
based
don't.
on refraction.
I'm saying I don't understand optics.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. That's why we're showing this diagram right here. Okay, this diagram shows you
Yeah,
what's
I
actually
know.
going on in the picture.
I don't know.
And then you know
don't
what?
like
I hate trying to do stuff in paint because I suck, but I feel like I should be re-explaining that to make it to show you what it would be like on a flat Earth. Let me see if I can
Oh,
get it to draw a
and
line.
just in case
How do you
anyone's
draw
not aware,
lines?
in the chat, Gary Wabanenga is in there. He is getting the Vicky treatment. He either gives an email to come and debate at some point, or he gets timed out. Sorry, what are you saying, team? How do you draw a line in paint? I think there's a tool for it.
I know I suck, but I'm trying to draw something right now to where we can at least get an
Well,
idea.
Do you want me to put your screen up yet, or do you want to wait till your masterpiece is complete?
1 second, 1 second. I'm gonna get it. Yeah, I'm getting the Picasso complete right here.
But what is it about optics that you don't understand, or do you not
Point
think
of
anyone
conversion,
understands?
The ship disappearing over the curve when we have the technology now to bring that ship all the way back. And you know that's right.
No. I can literally disprove that you cannot zoom a ship back in. It does not happen.
That has left your human eyes. You can't. You know, your eyes are so like strong. You can see everything.
The other day with
Well,
the
your eyes can see whatever's there. Your eyes don't have a limit
Yeah,
as the
they're
distance they
limited.
can see. Your eyes simply receive light. Now, in this video I'm showing you now.
You don't look out. Your
Yeah.
light is your eye is a photon receptor. That's all it does.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
this is using a P1000, right? And he's got these ships on the horizon. And what he does is he takes a screenshot while he's zoomed out. Let me get to that. Yeah, here we go. So he takes a screenshot at, I think, this point here. Right? And then he allows the video to continue zooming all the way in. Right? And then he takes another screenshot when the video is zoomed in. And it shows that zooming in does not bring things back above the horizon. What can happen is if a ship or an object is too small to be able to see, due to angular resolution and the Rayleigh criteria, it can vanish from view because it can't be resolved by the sensor in the camera or the receptors in your eyes. But that's when things are too small to be able to be seen in this manner. And zooming in on something in that case will increase the angular size and allow the receptor of the camera to be able to see it. But when the ship is big enough, like these tankers, you can literally see that it's on the horizon, behind the horizon, sorry, and no amount of zooming in will bring that ship back up above the horizon.
Nice
Hey, Fight,
photos.
can you share my Picasso?
Yes. Here is Team's art. Will be available for sale afterwards.
Yes, I'm selling this for 0.09 cents. After YouTube takes their 30% tax, that'd be about 7 cents. Free prints available online. Okay, so if the Earth were flat, let's say, and I hope you guys can see my cursor, but if the Earth were flat, these would be the power lines, this would be the observer, this would be the mountain in the distance. This is just a non-perspective drawing. It's just a drawing showing all the sizes and how big everything is. With perspective, on a flat Earth, this is what would happen. Oh, let me look up here. This line would still be at 500 meters, this would be at 210, and this would be at ground level. As an observer looks off in the distance, the ground will appear to rise to his eye level. The top of the mountain will appear to drop to his eye level. It will shrink uniformly. It won't shrink and drop at the same time. You're not going to get this situation where the mountain looks like it's down here because of perspective. The only way that's going to happen is if you have something that goes like this and it gets smaller and lower in elevation. So what you should be seeing if the Earth was flat, you should be seeing a direct line of sight from the person to the top of the tower. Those guys are both at 210 meters. Then you should still see in that line of sight, it should intersect the middle of the mountain at 210 meters in elevation. Anything above that should still be above the line of sight. Anything below that should still be below the line of sight, and it should be shrinking uniformly. That's not what we see.
I don't see, this is why I think optics are so important.
And if we're talking about perspective, do you know the mathematical formula for perspective, and the way that you can actually calculate how big things should appear?
Go ahead.
Well, it's alpha equals 2 times the arctan of g over 2r, where alpha is the actual size of the object, g is the apparent size of the object, and r is the distance to the object. And you can use that formula to actually find out how big things should look based on perspective. And you know, it doesn't follow what the flat earthers say. It literally doesn't work when you apply it to
Like
any kind of flat earth mentality.
It's like when the sun goes away.
Yeah, the sun on the flat Earth. If the sun goes away, it should shrink in angular size, right? And it doesn't.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I don't know shit. Just so sad. I don't know. I mean, I hope I did you guys justice, and everyone knows we're a bunch of fucking retards. Also, don't listen to any flat earthers. I think. Well, there might be a couple that are okay, you know. But the guys you guys talk to, what the fuck?
Citation.
Yeah, a couple that are okay. Well, the thing is, though, you said you used logic and stuff to reach your conclusions, but...
Yeah, I was just trying to sound smart. I don't even know what that word means. I told you I have a diploma in remedial reading. I just looked that word up.
Is that really what that is?
Yeah.
No.
Might as well be.
It's going to be a fucking master's in physics, watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. I mean, I hope everyone, realizes we don't know shit. That's, one of the...
But we do. We know a lot.
No, well, do we?
Yeah.
Do you know what's happening right now?
How are we communicating? How are we communicating right now? How are we communicating right now?
I know you're right. We know some shit. Do you know? We know. Where are your though?
I mean, we progressively learn more, though. That's the beauty, man. This isn't like art where somebody draws a picture and they're just talented, and you might have somebody that it might be 500 years till you have an artist of that talent. No, this is something that every day the newer generation that comes in on the shoulders of all the older generations put together. And they take that information and that knowledge and those failed experiments, the ones that say, don't do this because we've already done this, and then they just build off of that, and they continue to learn new and newer and newer and newer stuff. That's the beauty of science, and get behind science. Science is amazing.
Fig Newton, something about
we're only able to... Yeah, but I mean, I'm not really trying to quote anybody there. I mean, I know that that's a famous quote, but what I'm just saying is that we build off of the pyramid that somebody else has already laid down, the groundwork that other scientists have already done. And you can think of it as a pyramid structure, right? The bottom is huge, the base is huge, right? Every time we go up in layers, we shave off a little bit of the size of the layer beneath it. It's getting smaller and smaller as it gets to the top. That's what science does. We shave off all of the bad science. We find an idea. Having an idea is not bad. Having an idea is not bad, okay? Having an idea that goes against science is not bad. No. But the moment that it's tested and proven wrong, holding on to that idea is bad. Now, the ether, again, I'll go back to that. The ether is a bad idea. People that hold on to it, I understand that there's science still to be done on it, because if there's always the possibility that we did get it wrong. We'll learn that with future science. We have to continue to build off of the previous science, though. And we can't just abandon it and go back to 1900s.
Seems like you're almost being a hypocrite, though. It seems like you guys have it all figured out, and we don't need to learn or study anymore.
Absolutely not. There's so much that we don't know, but there's also a fucking lot that we do know. And one of the things we definitely know is that the Earth isn't flat, and that we are rotating, and that we are moving through space, and that space is real. You know, these things aren't they're not even in question in the scientific community. And the only people that question it is people that don't understand how physics works. And if flat earthers just took a physics course, even a college level physics course, then they maybe understand.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to say is the one thing that I have figured out is that I don't know the truth. That all I know is what is our current truth. The truth that we understand so far. And as long as I hold that knowledge, right, that knowledge to say that there's always some sort of something to learn ahead of me that I don't know yet, that I haven't even gotten the basics on, it drives me to want to learn even more. And I think that's where everybody should be. Everybody should realize that where we are in science is only a partial truth to the whole truth. We're only midway through that pyramid. We have a lot to go, and it's always going to shave off the nonsense until we get to that one unifying theory, so they call it, that explains everything that we need to ever understand. And then once we have that, guess what? It's going to be a whole nother pyramid above us.
We agree on all that except what nonsense is. No, that's fine.
But
it's been a pleasure chatting with you. I just want to say I'm really sorry I'm not doing it justice. And I'm not even prepared. I've been drinking all day.
You're doing fine.
I shouldn't be drinking.
no, it's been a better conversation than a lot of them goes. If you watch the video that on my channel from Saturday and skip to about 2 hours in, you can watch. I don't even know how to describe what happened then.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
You can see what a real shithead.
Words literally escaped me for when In Rem came on. He said he was going to come back today, but he must have sobered up and realised what he did. You know, my favourite part, team, was when Mrs. Rem said, "Yeah, but you don't even go to fucking work."
Yeah. No, he was talking about that we'll chat it up with you here for a second, Mick, before we get you out of here. Inrim was like trying to tell us how he is he's in the iron union, and that's how he works. And of course I have much love for the iron workers, the iron union, all the unions around. I do actually I've done a lot of blue collar work in my life, so I totally understand those concepts, and I would never want to knock those guys. But I was picking on the guy a little bit and having fun with him, and I was like, so you're a fucking temp, you know, you're a glorified temp. And he's like, no, they give me my jobs. I work with them. They tell me where to go, and I go there and hit hammers to nails. And his wife, out of nowhere in the background, goes, yeah, but you don't ever go to those jobs. It was fucking hilarious.
She called him an idiot at another point as well.
Out live.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Before you get out of here, Mick, there's a few questions, if you don't mind. We like to call them the litmus test. So, if I've got a triangle and it's got sides of 1, 1, and 1, what are the internal angles?
So 360, 990. I don't know. I don't know math.
That was a lot of numbers there, but
NASDAQ, Dow Jones. You gotta buy low.
Let's walk through it. All right. How many degrees does the angles of a triangle add up to?
Which kind of triangle?
Any kind of
All of
triangle.
them are the same. The angles are different. Some triangles.
yeah, but what do they?
No, yeah,
always
but if you
to?
add up all the, one of the properties of a triangle is that all the angles, all the internal angles, will add up to a certain number every time. You can't draw a triangle without doing it unless you're drawing it on a sphere.
Yeah, so it's like 180. I don't know.
Yeah, 180.
Yeah, 180.
So yeah.
Okay, so it's an equilateral triangle. It's an equilateral triangle, meaning all three sides are the same length. 1, 1, and 1.
Right.
What would that mean the angles on the interior would be?
So 180 divided by tree.
Divided by? Yeah, 180 divided by tree. And that comes out to? That comes out to 45. Yeah, right. 45. All right, so the internal angles of an equilateral triangle are 45 degrees. Okay, next question.
All right. Anyway, so do you know what? Do you know what you get if you divide 5 by 0?
7.
It's close. But
close.
No.
9.
I thought it was 23.
Thought it was 42.
Yeah.
It's always.
Let's settle
42.
on 69.
All right.
I don't know where you guys are going, but this is fun.
Well, it's just the basic tests we like to give flat earthers.
Right. Yeah, I get that.
Right, I'll tell you what. Why don't we read through the super chats, because I'm sure there's a couple of questions for you, and then we can get out of here for tonight, because it's been a good laugh.
I don't know.
So Crafty Kayla for €5 says, "Have a great show, lads." We have. John Rapp for $2 says, "Alien Moon is awesome and loves FTFE." Well, fuck you, John Rapp, and I love you too, Alien Moon. Crafty Kayla for €2 says, "Alien Moon wants your baby, aka a wrench." She got one. Christ Puncher for $2 says, "Island Moon." Let's talk about Island Moon. Island Moon looks good in blue, just saying. Right, David Oliver for £5 says, 15-degree an hour drift, detective thanks Bob, plus a 1 revolution per day. Yeah, so what do you think about the fact that we measured the rotations?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, which rotation are you measuring?
The rotation of the Earth.
I don't think it rotates, so I would have to ask you again.
It's been measured that it rotates, though.
It hasn't. Einstein admitted that their measure of the movement of the Earth has not been proven.
No, he said there's no optical experiment that you could do that could prove the rotation of the Earth. But this isn't using optics. This is using the speed of light.
I don't know. I'm still skeptical.
I mean, there's a difference between skeptic and just ignoring.
Right, yeah, and I don't know. I hope I'm fucking wrong. You think
You
I want to,
are.
like, think
You definitely are.
Yeah, well, I hope so, but if I knew that, I would think that was true.
You know, the fact is, I've got actually 2 or 3 other measurements of the rotation of the Earth that we could have talked through. I'll send you all those on Facebook.
Please do.
And we got Crafty Kayla for €2 says, "Team Skeptic for the win." Got a fan team. Woohoo! J.L. Warren for $9.99 says, "Mike, explain how if you plot the known distance between major cities or..."
Also, people confuse ground.
You ever installed a satellite on top of your house, like a Dish Network or any kind of satellite TV?
I've seen it done. I'm sure I could figure it out, but
Okay.
no, I haven't.
There's an app out there called Dish Finder. I believe it's called Dish Finder. And what you can do is you can just go pick a satellite that's accessible from, let's say, 3 or 4 or 5 points on the surface of the Earth, okay? And you can actually go and get the azimuth angles for where you would have to install your satellite to point at that, or where you'd have to install your dish and how you'd have to install it so it could easily see the satellite that's in the sky. Now, if I have done this before on my own house, and if you're 1 degree off in any direction, you're not going to get the signal because the satellite's so far away that even 1 degree results in a huge amount of distance being off. You have to get it to within like 1/10 of a degree to get a strong signal. Sure. So if you go and you take this data, now anybody that installs these, they get their data from the Dish Finder. Anybody still installs it at home, you would typically you'd look up your satellite you want to look at, and it would tell you in the sky where to point your thing. You point it there, and sure enough, the satellite's there. So you yourself can go and pick 5 random spots in the United States, okay? Just pick 5 spots, pick 1 satellite, and plot out where they point at to the satellite in the sky, all right? Now, if the Earth is flat, they're all going to point to a different they're all going to point to like a different elevation. Like 2 satellites will have a line cross at maybe 3,000 kilometers up, and then the other satellite will cross the sub-satellite point at 1,000 kilometers up. But you plot it out on a fucking sphere, and sure enough, they all point to the same spot in the sky. The exact same spot. Within a degree.
Yeah, that's something. Stop
Strong
doing that.
evidence to support. We're trying to see where you got your advanced physics degree at.
Oh
no, he's a flat earther. Look. No, he's a fucking flat earther. Never mind. He probably does have a fucking GED on the wall for remedial reading. Oh, Mick, you're amazing. Hey, if you put that on the wall beforehand to just, to push the Poe that I claimed that you are earlier, You're even doing it better now, but showing that flat Earth thing. Now you're really selling the fucking.
I know, I mean,
Thank
I've
you.
looked at his Facebook and it's pretty flat earther.
I don't have.
Okay,
Is there
I'll
shit
give
on
it to you. You're a flat earther.
Where's the shit on my Facebook? There shouldn't be any flat Earth shit on my Facebook.
Pictures. A bunch of
Where?
pictures.
Damn, I don't even have.
You need to sort
Shit,
your
what do you
security
want?
settings out.
Oh, cool. That's fine. Whatever. I've nothing to hide.
Right, David
Okay.
Oliver for £2 says Polaris and Sigma Altanis destroys flat Earth. Yeah, how come if you go south of the equator you can't see the North Star?
I thought you can't see Polaris.
Yeah, you can't see Polaris if you go south of the
In
equator.
the southern hemisphere, yeah.
I mean, I've sat on the deck of a Type 23 frigate as we've sailed south of the equator
Yeah,
and
well,
watched
that's
it go below the horizon.
That's something I'm very curious about. I think the southern hemisphere is much larger than they let on believe. And the flight patterns are
I mean,
very...
if the Earth's flat, the southern hemisphere has to be a lot larger than we're told. I mean, there has to be like a 60,000 kilometer ice wall, right?
Not a lot of people live in this area. So we're not getting, like, there aren't nearly as many people in the southern hemisphere. Is that incorrect?
Yeah, but we have in the chat right now. I can guarantee that we have at least 50 people from Australia in the chat right now.
Or if you're in the southern hemisphere,
all
put
tell you they can't
an S for south in the chat. If you're in the southern hemisphere, put an S for south. We'll see how many there is. David Oliver for £2 says the only ether I know is drug in liquid form. Well, the best one was actually in the Marvel universe. Monkey Cat Pat Pat for $5 US. The guy is a po or just dumb and doesn't understand science. What do you say about that, Mike?
Yeah, I have no idea who that person is, but I'm very offended and I'm going to cry myself to sleep over that comment. So thank you. I have very low self-esteem.
Monkey Cat Pat Pat for another $2 says I'd like to know what his degrees are.
I fucking told you, remedial reading and remedial math. The bigger one's remedial math. But they probably just revoked that after watching this. Thank you very much.
David Oliver for £5 says flat Earth is a fantasy. That's why we don't take Flerfs seriously. Do you agree that flat Earth's just a fantasy?
Oh no, I don't. Well, I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't think it's a fantasy. I think it's just as fantasy as a spinning ball Earth. I don't fucking know. And since I'm so strict about the scientific method, I'll have to see it to believe it. Is that the worst?
All right, here's a question for you. Could you tell me the difference when using the scientific method when you're using it in geology and astrophysics?
I mean, I guess the material is different. Like what the subject.
Entire way that you apply the method is very different. Because as I was trying to say earlier, the scientific method isn't this strict thing. It bends and morphs, and it is a guideline on how to use
I don't like the
science.
bending and morphing, but yeah, it is a guideline, right? And the bending and morphing. I guess that's why philosophy should never be a science, because science isn't even science anymore.
I think that says philosophy on your thing back there.
Sorry, that is my degree.
Yeah, he's a
And then
philosophy major.
one of the biggest arguments in philosophy was always, should philosophy be science? Like, how the fuck could that be when science isn't even science? That was my...
Matthew Matthews
Well, I
for
always
two.
thought science is a sect of philosophy.
Well,
It's philosophical science, like
Yeah.
not Einstein, but
Not so much
Isaac
recently.
Newton, I believe,
I
is
disagree
considered
slightly.
a philosopher. Well, the people that are working in quantum mechanics
definitely
are, I believe, there's a lot of the people working in quantum mechanics are working under philosophical science.
Sure.
Drunken
That's
Bullet got what was going on in my head there. Well done, Drunken Bullet 411. I didn't even see how many S's was in the chat for it. Yeah, there's quite a lot of people. I see at least 50 S's there for Southern Hemisphere people. Right, Matthew Matthews for $2 says Mike the Flat Earther is the Flat Earth King.
Eesh. Fuck that shit.
That's
Oh,
not
yeah.
a crown you want, dude. Fargoth92 for £5
I think
says...
he's referencing. I think he's referencing Tiger King there.
Oh, possibly.
I
We talked with someone last night who worked with the Tiger King for quite a long time. That was a lot of fun. Fargoff92 for $5 says, after the last debate, I had to get a new brain cell plushie. It now has burst into flames. R.I.P. Pinky 2. Yeah, that one on Saturday was something else. But Mike, you watched the Tiger King?
I had a hard time. I didn't watch it all. I couldn't really get into it.
Did Carol kill her husband?
What?
Probably fuck Carol Baskin, but if she's a flat earther, the whole fucking movement. Don't. But that's what you guys need to do. You guys need to make sure Carol Baskin is flat earther.
I'm going to spread the rumor that Carol Baskin's a flat earther. Discredit the flat earth movement. Okay, Robert Williams for $1.99 says, I predict this guy will admit he's joking. He's a psychology major, so it could all be some kind of experiment for him. Who knows? Dim Sum Ninsum for $2 says, fix your mic, Mick. It's not too bad, actually. If you are a flat earther, you are better than most flat earthers by actually connecting.
I have an actual mic
on the first try.
The Plot Hole for $2. Shout out to the Plot Hole, says, this guy is skeptical of a ruler. What do you say to that?
I gotta say something. Oh, what?
Yeah, good answer. I'll let someone what you're smoking. Christopher Hugan for $5 says, help me wish a very happy birthday to my girlfriend Angel. Angel, this is just for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Angel. Happy birthday to you. And you just unsubscribed, didn't you? Shit.
If you really want him to unsubscribe, I'll whistle happy birthday for him.
You can't whistle. Don't be silly. Crafty Kayla for €5 says, first to bid on Skeptic's artwork, it will be worth nothing one day. Lol. €5 is the bid for your artwork.
Hey.
If anyone wants Skeptic's artwork, €5 is the current bid. David Oliver for £5 says, FTFE or Team Skeptic, explain perspective and isometric. Isometric is extremely good for perspective. Well, the diagram I got is a kind of an isometric view. Helps explain it a little bit, but flat earthers still don't get perspective. Dennis for $2 says, I got a master's in remedial reading. I still know more. Stringer News 1 for $5 says, if we have a triangle of sides 1, 1, and 1, how do you convert meters to kilometers? Well, we'll ask you, Mike. Do you know how to convert meters to kilometers?
Kilo. No. I hate the fucking metric.
I like you, Mike. Carl Selman for 20 secs or 19 secs, just with a sticker that says work. Yes, this is work. It's always work. Dennis for $2 says, the man is just playing. He's a Poe, I think. I don't know, but I like him anyway. Christ Puncher. Always loved your name. For $2. Mike, what colour is a red fire truck?
Orange.
Good answer. Better Charge for $2 says, thanks, Bob. Yeah, thanks, Bob, indeed. Carl Selman for 20 secs says, EOP is what? I don't know what that means. But thank you. Average Joe for £20 says, Mike is a worthy Poe. I want to see the diploma, though. They really want to see your diploma, Mike.
Well, that'll be at a later date. I'll announce it. It's going to be a big reveal.
Awesome. You can do it on the channel. Dennis for $5 says, I feel like this guy washes his coffee maker in the dishwasher. I'm concerned for him. It can be an electrical hazard. I like this guy, though. You got fans out there, Mike. You got fans out there.
Cool.
Hey, Mike, you said you don't like the metric system, so how would you convert pounds to tons?
Easy.
He says as he goes on Google.
Oh, yeah, no. You want to know how many pounds a ton is?
Yeah.
No, how would you convert pounds to ton?
So 2,000 tons is 1 pound.
Wait, what now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 2,000 tons
Yeah,
is 1 pound.
David Oliver,
That's
for
Those 2
£5
tons
says.
would be 4 million tons.
David Oliver,
That's
for
a
£5
milliton, by the
says
way.
there are certain times of the year that the North Star can be seen in the southern hemisphere, but not for very long. Yeah, based on the the wobble of our axis, slightly, but not very much, and only it still disappears below the horizon the further
I
south
have
you
a
go.
question. I do oblate spheroid. You said it's an oblate spheroid. So why are NASA's photos such perfect circles?
Because
That's a
an
very
oblate
good-
spheroid can be the
That's kind of
difference of 1 pixel or not. It's
Can I
practically a
answer
perfect
that? Yeah, I
sphere.
can answer that. So, yeah, it's about there's about a 40 to 50, I believe, either mile or kilometer difference between the
46
diameter
miles.
between the poles. Maybe that's it. The diameter between the poles and the diameter, from across the equator, for instance, is where you would get your greatest difference because the poles squish down and the equator bulges out. Now, if you were to take the Earth with that difference and shrink it down to the size of a cue ball, it would be more perfect of a circle than an actual cue ball would be.
Oh, so that's what the NASA photographers did.
No,
They
they,
did so
they
many-
didn't
have to
do
do that.
anything, but because
It's almost a perfect circle.
yeah, the difference in the equatorial and polar diameters is so small that it's imperceptible. The Earth is basically a perfect sphere, but there is a tiny difference between the diameters of the equator and the polar diameters.
Because it spins so fast.
Yeah, it's centrifugal forces that cause that.
Huh.
And did you know that the centrifugal force at the equator is 0.3% of gravity? So it's hardly anything.
I mean,
Anyway.
I guess that's convenient.
Solexis for £5 says, "Are you using the flat Earth model time and calendar for your routine? Do you follow a flat Earth model?"
For like calendar, I don't.
Yeah,
No, I go by the same time everyone else does because I have to.
cool.
I
That
would like to-
works on a globe, not on a flat Earth though.
Wait, what?
I mean, time zones, night. Where does the sun go at night?
I can't grab that premise. It goes away, like just like the hallway. Like things go
Yeah,
far
but it
away.
wouldn't get dark. The light would still be there. It can't go below anything.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you hold on, but Mick, if you look down the hallway, let's say you have bulbs of light every 10 feet down the hallway, right? You would look up and you would see the bulb nearest to you would be bigger and brighter than the bulb furthest from you. That's not what we see in reality. The sun is as big and as bright no matter where it is in the sky.
I don't think it's 93 million miles away. I'm very sorry.
Whether you think or not is irrelevant. We've sent stuff there very recently. The Parker Solar Probe's done a great job of proving the distance to the sun.
Who has?
The Parker Solar Probe, which is currently about 3 million miles away from the center of the sun, which is practically in its corona.
Shit, I have to form an analysis. Can you give me a second?
Yep.
Hey. Hello? Hey, what's up?
Mute him a sec. Okay, right, I'll carry on reading out the super chats while he's on his phone call. Yeah, you're muted the now, Mick, so it's cool. Joe Warren says for $1.99 he didn't hear the response to a super chat because the feed cut. Basically, he said, "Does it work? I don't understand. Why does it not work on a flat Earth?" We had to explain that maps don't work on a globe.
I was thinking about bringing J.L. Warren on to debate somebody on whether Carol Baskin did it or not.
Oh yes,
Just
he
for
doesn't think
fun.
Carol did.
Yeah, we'll do that. Well, let's I want to try to do that Wednesday. So if you're available, JL, Wednesday, I'll try to find somebody that'll debate you on whether Carol Baskins killed her husband or not. And you can. I know you got a lot of proof, and you were being very vocal about it. I love it, man. So let's make that happen.
Right, and we've got Crafty Kayla for €2 says, "Be sure to click like, people. Have a great night." Yes, please smash the like button. And like I always say, guys, the super chats and that, they mean the world. It's what allows me to keep on doing this and stuff. But the best way that you can help my channel is by sharing on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. Honestly, even though I don't really have a presence on Facebook, I'm just starting to build one up. I still get like 73% of my traffic from outside of YouTube that comes from Facebook. So sharing my stuff on Facebook and Twitter is a massive, massive help. Literally, you can do it now. Just say, I'm watching this live stream, and just click the 3 buttons and send it to Twitter or Facebook, and it massively helps me. But yeah, anyway, on to the super chats. Glass Monster for 2 Canadians says, Mike the Flat Earther is a Poe. I'm still not sure. Here we go. Anthony Purcell for $2.99 Australian says, seismic travel times can't occur on Flat Earth. Yep, that's absolutely true. Monkey Cat Pat for $2 says, thanks for the debate, guys. Oh, thank you very much for being here. It means the world. Musco Jane for $2 says, is that a ton or a ton, team?
Okay.
It's a ton.
Yeah,
How
no,
many
that's
pounds
fine.
are in a milliton?
David
How many
Oliver,
pounds are in a milliton?
how many pounds are in a milliton? I don't know.
2.
2 pounds in a milliton. Okay.
I mean, yeah, sure.
David Oliver for £5
That's
says,
1/1000th of a pound.
David Oliver for £5 says, I've seen a gravity map of Earth using a false colour. I found it interesting. Yeah, that interesting thing about that gravity map of Earth is that a lot of flat earthers take that and go, oh, this is what NASA says Earth would look like if you take away the oceans, and they don't even understand what they're looking at. Because like always, flat earthers can't research. Jessica G for $2 says, ask Mike to show the diploma, #pineapple pizza. Everyone please ban Jessica G from the chat immediately. Pineapple on pizza is the devil's work. David Oliver for £5 says, Mike, your argument about a very long corridor would only work in a tube tunnel when it's going downhill. Did you hear that, Mike?
Okay.
Wow, so I was trying to be funny and making up the word milliton. It's actually a unit of convert. It's actually a metric unit.
I'm sure it is.
Ah, I'm so dumb. I love when I fucking say, let's see, oh no, hey, I was right. 1 milliton is 2.204 pounds. So that's 1 kilogram. So 1 milliton equals 1 kilogram. So I was close still. Let's see. I'm gonna see make sure that's a 1-to-1 conversion. I believe that is. Yep, it's a 1-to-1. So a kilogram is a milliton. 2.2 pounds.
Crafty Keela for €2 says, pineapple pizza should be illegal. Just saying. It will be when I take over. Obviously, the coronavirus is the start of my master plan. Wait, did I just say that
hold
out
on.
loud?
No, I almost choked on myself when when you said pineapple on pizza. So here's what I'm gonna do.
Go on, team.
Here's what I'm gonna do for the pineapple on pizza. I'm going to order some pineapple pizza.
I will instantly
and
block
I'm
you.
gonna eat it live. I'm gonna eat it live.
They will delete
and
your
I'm gonna
YouTube
tell
channel.
you whether my mind has been changed or not. I know. I'm gonna mukbang pineapple pizza, guys.
Mike, it is the important question. Pineapple on pizza? Yes or no?
No, I don't. No, I don't know. I mean, tomato is technically a fruit, but I don't really like fruit. I don't know. You can't mix.
Would you make a sauce out of the pineapple? No, you wouldn't.
No, I don't like pineapple on pizza. No, personal preference, no. But I don't need people that there. If you want to eat it, go for it. It's just weird and gross. It's like something savory that they put fruit in it. Like I think Persian cuisine. It always pisses me off. I'm like, oh, what the fuck did you put in there? Is that weird? I love Persians.
Some sick fucker in the chats yesterday suggested strawberries on pizza.
Strawberries on pizza.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I know.
I threw up in my mouth
apparently,
just a little bit.
Apparently, it's called they call it a Georgia pizza. Strawberries and bacon.
I feel like that'd be peaches and bacon. That's
my
still
God.
disgusting.
Yeah, it's just wrong. Peter Birdie for £10 says, what direction do people in Australia, South Africa and Argentina have to look to see the Southern Cross? And how does that work on a flat earth, Mike?
What are they trying to see? The southern what?
The Southern Cross. Yeah, the central point of rotation.
Oh, you just lined it up with it.
Sorry?
You just find the local church.
Okay, never mind.
Hey, shout out to Ilya Moon, who apparently is going to be debating pineapple on pizza tomorrow on MC Toon's
On MC
channel.
Toons, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, next
Oh,
Tuesday.
sorry,
I'm
man.
sorry, a week from tomorrow. A week from
Yeah.
tomorrow,
Cool.
she'll be debating pineapple on pizza. Maybe, how about this? I'll do my live stream doing the pineapple on pizza. Wait, Ilya, are you pro or against?
I think she's against.
If you're pro, then... If she's against,
I
then
gave her
that's
a
why I love
mod
like I
badge.
do.
I mean, I gave her a spanner today. I'm going to have to take that off. Fuck's sake, man.
No shit, right?
Better charge for $5 New Zealand dollars says, can't even get a damn pizza with lockdown. Ban all pizza talk. I know, man. When McDonald's shut down in the UK, I was like, yep, that's it. That's the apocalypse.
Everybody, happy 420 today. Happy 420,
420,
everybody. I don't normally like to promote, stuff like that. I support it, but I don't like to promote it because I do know that there's children that listen to us. I hope that there's no children listening tonight because it's April 20th and happy 420. My particular 420 story is that I don't use opiates. I substitute using opiates by, using a little bit of cannabis oil and whatnot to help with my inflammation. I've seen a positive result, and it keeps me off of opiates. So
Absolutely the same for me.
I am pro smoking marijuana or using marijuana as in whatever method, whatever reason you want to. But I try not to promote it too much online
No,
because
team,
we do
it's
have
exactly the
kids that
same for me.
listen
I was
to
on
us.
opioids
Today
for
is just the day.
I was on opioids for nearly a decade, and the only thing that's allowed me to come off of opioids is having some weed. So yeah, absolutely no issue with weed. Happy 420, everyone. Do you agree with that, Mike?
Sure, absolutely. I'm all for it. And I heard, yeah, if you have opioid problems, their kratom is like a godsend. I had a buddy that was like nearly dead, or not, like just really bad in the opiates. And kratom like saved his life, and he's doing fucking great. Which I guess it's in the same family, but it's not nearly as strong, and it helps people. Anything that helps people is great.
Yeah.
And be against
But yeah, happy 420, everyone. Have a smoke for me. Red Cosmos Devil for $2 says, hashtag Fupa the Goat. How you all doing?
Ha! Fupa. We'll have to get him in here.
Fuck Fupa.
I'm going to bring him on one day. He is a fucking character, but I don't think he has much online etiquette right now. So I'm trying to teach him. I'm like, dude, yeah, you got to calm down a little bit with some of what you're saying, man. But he's a good guy at heart, and he's an excellent Call of Duty player. So hashtag fuck Fupa. If we can get that in the chat, I'm sure he would love it as well.
Yeah. You're a Call of Duty player, Mike?
Nope, I'm not too much of a gamer.
Get on that shit, man. It's
What?
It's fun.
it's my escape from reality.
I was about to say it's been a lifesaver during this isolation.
Yeah, too right.
But yeah, you're right. This is one of the better Call of Duties they've ever put out.
Oh, without a doubt.
I just recently got sick, so while I was sick and not really able to just like jump around and be out and doing stuff, and we were under quarantine anyway.
Team.
I just picked up the sticks and started playing Call of Duty. So.
You need to copy my my loadout that I've made for mid-game encounters because it's a fucking beast. I've got a gun that can drop people so quickly. Let's have a couple of games after this finishes. It's the M4A1,
Okay,
but the way it's set
games.
up with the no stock and everything, it's so quick and it's amazing. Anyway, Crafty Kayla for €2 says, Team Skeptic, no, don't eat the pineapple pizza.
Crafty, I'm doing it for science to prove that the science behind pineapple on pizza is wrong.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for empirical evidence. Ilya Moon, if you take the pineapple is wrong on pizza and I end up not liking it, feel free to use my footage of me puking in my mouth. Okay? Because I think that's what's going to happen. But I am going to do it. In fact, you know what? I'll make a bomb-ass homemade pizza. I'm going to make a homemade pizza. I believe Chef Allen, I'm going to ask Chef Allen to send me some kind of, hey, this is what you should pair it with and this and that. And I'm going to try to do the whole thing at home. and we'll see how it turns out. I'll eat it on live online, and y'all can see my reactions. I love pineapple. I love pizza. I hate pineapple on pizza.
I'm going to be waiting with the unsubscribe
Change my mind.
ready to be clicked.
See, I love pizza too because it's flat and round.
I mean, I like milk and I like Coca-Cola, but don't fucking mix the two, you know?
I heard, yeah, I read that recently. Have you tried that? I'm curious now. I would try it, but like.
I watched the guy do a video doing it, right? And you watch him take a big gulp of it, and then you just see his face go from like to, oh, that was a mistake.
What are you talking about? What was he eating?
No, drinking milk and Coke together.
People have been
Oh,
mixing
no,
it.
I don't do milk. I don't do any dairy at all. See,
No.
I'd have to make my pizza with no cheese.
Get out.
Pineapple, pepperoni, pizza sauce, tortilla. Yes, sir.
David Oliver for £5 says, "I like strawberry jam baked in an oven over chicken." I'm just about to ban you from the channel. 2 secs.
Oh, no. Hey, no. Listen. I want to tell you
What?
guys something. My brother's fiance made a grape barbecue sauce. And I'm almost positive it was a barbecue sauce. I can't remember it was braised over something, but it was made from grapes. They wouldn't tell us what it was made from until after we tried it. And I was like, wow, this is not made from fucking grapes. And sure, I'm pretty sure it was grapes is what I'll find out. But what they made and what it was made from, you would never guess. It was made from a fruit and it tasted like meat. It was
Okay,
good.
interesting.
So I'll find out what that was.
All right, Salaxis for £5 says, "What the fuck? How can we take Flat Earth seriously? If the person that is for Flat Earth doesn't take the question seriously, this is a telltale sign of a Poe." I don't really care what Mike is. I like the guy. He's all right. Game Nerd for 100. Is that Ruples? I'm not sure, but thank you.
Yeah, good luck. Indian rupees. I
Rupees.
learned it. Indian rupees.
Thank you, Game Nerd. Stop talking about
I'm
pizza.
not gonna.
Go on.
The thing is that the Indian rupees and the Japanese yen, they throw me off because I always think one is the other because the symbols kind of shaped similar.
He says, "Stop talking about pizza. I'm at work and it makes me hungry." Monkey Cat Pat for $2 says, "Pineapple on pizza belongs with the right toppings." I think he meant does not belong at all there. Bella Charge for $2 New Zealand says, "If you do go live team, do it on your gaming channel." Possibly team, what do you reckon?
Oh yeah.
Monkey Cat Pat for $5 says, "Pineapple on pizza is the only thing I have ever disagreed with you guys." We just can't be friends anymore, sorry. Monkey Cat Pat for $2 says, "Pineapple and jalapenos, try it." Possibly with enough jalapenos.
Oh,
no,
hey.
no.
I'll eat some ghost pepper chips with you guys, though, man. I love as
I'll eat a ghost
spicy as
pepper
you can get
fucking
the
chili
food.
live on.
I love it. Oh, bro, I had the I want to get the I had the bag of I believe it. God, now I don't remember the name of them. I think they were Takis, but they had some of the ghost. It was a ghost pepper chip, and then if you on the inside of each bag there was a code. If you won, each code gave you a chance to win one Carolina Reaper chip, and it came in a fucking like a coffin. Right? One chip. And they would send that one chip to you. They sold out because it was that popular of a chip. It's great. It's spicy. It'll make you cry. I'm not talking about the Carolina Reaper chip. The ghost pepper chips will make you cry. They are not something you want to eat and then like rub your eyes. You won't be able to see out of that eye for hours. I mean, every time you open the eye.
Oh no, I've done that before when having hot chilies
and
and touch my eye. Fuck's sake.
That's what we're gonna do. Fight. We're gonna eat some hot chips on stream.
The plot hole for $2 says, "I'll make you a bomb blueberry hot sauce, spicy." Yeah, I'll go for that. David Oliver for £2 says, I use beer to make batter. Yeah, beer makes everything better. Jackalope Herdmaster for $5 says, "I like this guy. He's more tolerable than Flat Earth Science." You have fans, Mike. You have fans.
Yeah, I don't want fans.
This could be the start of a lucrative YouTube career for you.
No, hey, look, I don't care whether you believe the Earth is flat or not. Are you entertaining? You're entertaining, man. You should keep doing it.
Yeah.
Just realize that you're wrong, but at the same time, be entertaining about it. You'll have a good time on here.
Jessica
Sure.
G for $2 says science and logic agree pineapple belongs on pizza. I'd like to see the scientific method for that. And the plot hole for
Who is
$2.
this that's dead to me?
Jessica G. She's been harassing us with super
Dead.
chats for the past few days about pineapple on pizza. People want to
Yeah, I
literally
think she
pay us
became
to
a
say
member
that
on my
pineapple on
channel
pizza is
just
okay.
I know, right? That's exactly what they're doing. They're like, hey, we need to make sure that the public knows the truth. Super chat him and tell him, make him read out that pineapple on pizza is amazing.
And the plot.
Suspicion the whole call's been about pineapple pizza. It
What was that? Sorry.
just seems like everything was just leading up to pineapple pizza. I wish I was prepared.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because this is like it's a 50-50 split in the audience. Okay?
It really is. I'm
Everywhere we
surprised.
go, every time
So
we
many people
do
are
the
dead to
thing,
me.
it is 50-50. So many people have died to me over the past couple of months. There is like maybe a 10% that are like, meh, whatever. But the rest of the people, down the middle split, they're like either hell fucking no or you guys are nuts, pineapple belongs on pizza. We've had bona fide chefs tell us that we're wrong. We've had, world leaders tell us that we're right. We've had NASA scientists send us, space pineapples so that we could try those out. Everything's come across the board when it comes to this pineapple on pizza debate. But we're gonna settle it. I'm gonna eat it live, and you will look at my face. If I make the right face, then it's good. If I make the wrong face, then it's bad. You be the judge.
Well, next time I'm on the ISS, I'll take some pineapple on pizza to see if it can survive in space. And we've got $2 from the plot hole. Challenge accepted, team. I'll own you.
Oh, wait. What challenge? From the plot hole?
Yeah. I think he challenges you to a spicy something eating contest.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah?
I'll do it just for fun.
We all have to make sure we've got the same
spicy
ingredients
food.
so we can do it all live. I reckon I could outspice you.
Okay, so I've showed you guys my Slap Your Mama seasoning that I put on everything. I'm talking about if I had the opportunity to put them on pancakes, I'd put them on pancakes. But I will get a corn dog and I will put mustard on the plate. And Fight has seen me do this. I will take the, pepper, the Cajun spices, and sprinkle it down into my mustard and dip my corn dog, eat it, sprinkle more fucking spice on it, eat it, more spice. I can't get enough of spicy foods. I don't understand what my taste bud, obsession is with eating spicy foods. It has to have some kind of spice or I just don't want to even eat it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I love spicy stuff.
Unless it's steak.
John Rapp says for $2 ham and pineapple pizza or Cajun fried kitty, you choose. You beast, John. David Oliver for £2 says, have you seen young Einstein film? Funny as fuck. No, I haven't, but I'll watch it. And then Monkey Cat Pat Pat for $5 says, trust me, pineapple and jalapeno on a pizza is amazing. Yet you've been trying to tell me with several super chats, and I will try it. I'll do it live with team, and you'll get to watch me throw up. But one more is just coming. Cash 22 for $6.99 Canadian. You need to robo-gen that you're gonna eat a ghost pepper on live stream. Okay?
We need to what now?
It says you need to robo-gen. I don't know what that means. Maybe you mistyped. Who knows? But thank you. And then Selexis for £2 says, still FTF in Team Warzone or Team Deathmatch? Definitely a bit of Warzone. But before we get out of there, Mike, thank you for coming along and having a good time tonight. Do you all have any final words?
No, I really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
Yeah,
I think you're welcome to come back. Team will definitely have you on his channel. I know that. But yeah, thank
for sure.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us tonight. It's been great fun. Team?
Fight. Let me add one thing. I'm posting my After Dark Gaming channel in the chat right now, and I guess since me and Fight are going to play a couple of games, I'll
that's where we're going to have our after show there.
Our banter and
if you want to join us for the after show, go to Team's gaming channel.
I didn't get to see the chat.
Since we have VMix set up already.
Well, you can rewatch and watch the chat because they actually quite liked you. Just had a couple more coming in. Dennis for $2 says, FTFE is about to lose subscribers over the pizza. I don't want you subscribers if you think pineapple belongs on pizza. I'm joking, I love you all. And then Glass Monster for 2 Canadian says, Weed 420 pizza with pineapple rocks. I mean, weed can make anything taste good.
Okay.
If that's all that's left.
Hold on. I need to know what the perfect combination. If I'm going to make pineapple pizza, do I slice the pineapples or do I dice them into small pineapple pieces? Because that's how I would do the ham. I would dice the ham. Someone said ham and pineapple. So my pizza is going to have pepperoni, bacon, ham.
I think you've got to have like
and
sliced circles of pineapple.
And
if you can make it tiny and then
they're
like,
sliced.
it with,
Yeah.
We have Christ Puncher says dice them.
Dice them. Jessica G for $2 says, After Dark Gaming to talk about pineapple pizza. They love the pineapple pizza. But I've had fun tonight, guys, as always. I've got another debate coming up soon with dumbass, what's his name? Why You Are an Idiot. And I'm going to tell him I don't care about religion. But again, thank you to Mike for coming on. Team, we're going to go over to Team's gaming channel for the after show, so join us there. And remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth.
Fight the flat, 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 fight the flat,